play in some of these games if those get taken away.
The air is heavy here in the Kespo Dome, as Atlas was saying. It is getting heated, not just in game, but in person as well. This has been a grueling best of 5. Think back all the way to game number 1, where T1, despite a top half that was, I don't know what it was, like 0, 11, 0, and 12, still found a way to extend that game. Think back to Chovy trying to carry on Asol, all going to come down to a single best of 1. Lulu already taken off the board here, not going to give that one over to Lehens. And I'm wondering if that means that it's a Lucian priority pick here. Wouldn't surprise me after how the last couple of games played out.
Could be banned here as well by the side of Gen.G. This final spot will leave the Varus open for Gumayusi. They'll take the Ashe away instead. That may just simply be a trade. Now, we have seen not just Yuumi, or not just Zeri and Lulu, but also the Zeri and the Yuumi from FaZe and Lehens. And if they want to play that into the Lucian Nami, it would be a throwback to Ruler. Starting this off with Lehens, the streak of back-to-back titles here, back-to-back-to-back. And will that be the response again from Gen.G? Call back to the past, the Zeri hover, time ticks away. That one gets locked in here. Now you don't need to lock in the Yuumi now with it. You can grab a prio pick like the Aurelion Soul potentially here for Chovy, or that Azir that's been so coveted in the series.
Chovy has been loving the counter picks. I imagine that will continue here. I also wonder if T1 is going to drop the Azir prio just because of the threat. And with everything on the line, FaZe this playoffs, and I'd argue even this spring, has been able to uphold the standard that he has set for himself last year. And with everything on the line, it ends up being this area as the Orianna for Faker. It made its way through for the first time, I think, in this series. You're going to get picked up here for the mid laner of T1.
Because Annie does kind of hang over like a flex a little bit, but when we see that Orianna doesn't feel like this one is going mid. It's going to be instead the Corki for this final game. Chovy has been so good with this pick, and Faker has pushed people out of lane with the Orianna so many times, even in matchups where it feels pretty contested. Playing Orianna into Syndra, for example, Faker wins those as well. He's been so confident on this pick, that's why it's perma-banned against him. The Corki's going to come through here for Chovy just the same. Confident he could deal with that laning phase and scale up later on.
And I imagine you got to ban the K'Sante here. Keen on K'Sante has looked so much better, not just, I think, compared to many other top lanes, but also on tanks. His Rek'Sai was solid, it just doesn't have the same impact. I feel like he knows the limits of the champion to such an extent. At the same time, if they don't ban the Zac, maybe just let it go, let him, and try to play for that. But we'll see. The Rumble and the Jace, I think, have mainly been the bans to deny that strong top lane prio.
And some of the poke, obviously, too, that's going to come with a Corki Jace composition. Specifically, so many reasons to get rid of the Jace here. The Rel will be taken away, so strong here into a lot of different jungle matchups. It can clear so quickly, and objective control has been the problem for Gen.G so much of this series, and just adding that extra Rel smite, which will be the final game we ever see of it here with these teams.
Oh!
Last game was 14-60.
Wow.
It's the Kha'Zix ban!
Kha'Zix banned, K'Sante left available with Vayne bans, and if they want this pick for Keen, now's the time to take it. You have to take it.
The great neutralizer into Zeus, no matter what he picks. The Twisted Fate is gone as well.
And Keen's K'Sante is just...
It's unreal.
It's world class. Like, it's so good. It's great as a blind pick as well.
Remember the play he made where he basically 1v4'd a team fight, as it is going to be the Zac coming through. We talked about it.
Back.
This time around, there are more mobile carries on the side of Gen.G, but now Canyon, his Kha'Zix was so good that he got banned in this game number 5. What is he pulling out in this final and crucial game? Is it going to be something like Lee? Is it Jax? What is the counter pick? Is it the Xin?
Poppy to come through. And a pick that has been pretty good into the Lucian historically. Can be great at shutting down the Zac as well in terms of engages. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 5 games, trusting Zeus again with the Zac pick into another tank in the K'Sante. Canyon pulls out the Poppy for the first time this series. Chovy on this Corki pick. So many ways to control team fights. Lehens' Annie didn't really hit the spot last time we saw it around in this series, but into the composition of T1 this time. There's so many ways to actually follow up on it, and FaZe, can he get it done? They didn't give him the Yuumi this time around, but it's a lot of weight on his shoulders. There has been so many of these games, but Chovy has often carried harder than he has. This time, he has to get it done. Any mistakes, and T1 lift the trophy.
Big difference here. Zeri obviously has so much more self-peel than Nephelios does. Additionally, there is a Poppy. We'll see if Canyon is able to keep his young carry safe. But I'm also looking at botline dives. Any time that you see a Poppy in the game, you got to play respect for early on. We've seen Zeri actually do really great in the early trades, but Lahens and Pace, even in the last game, their laning phase wasn't what it needed to be.
It's a full KSPO dome. Everybody's gripping their seats tightly. We've got a 50-50 split on the fans here. I'd say maybe a few more T1 fans on the Gen.G side hiding, but it all comes down
undercover.
This one final game.
하나, 둘, 셋. 겐지 하나, 둘, 셋.
Game number 5. I didn't think I was going to be saying those words tonight. Not a lot of 3-2s that we've seen in recent times, let's just say. Here in LCK Finals, and we get one tonight. We are blessed with it, as Faker and Chovy also crest past 100 games faced off against each other into 101 here in game number 5. And I really feel like it's anybody's game to win. I think that both of these two teams have really fought a great battle back and forth. It hasn't been a one-sided bout really at any point in this series.
And it feels like the drafting from T1 has just been iteration on very similar styles. Oner playing Xin Zhao almost every game. Zeus using the Zac counter pick over and over again. Feeling very comfortable with their own play style. It's Gen.G trying to reinvent the wheel with the Aurelion Soul, the Annie support. Canyon playing so many different picks in this series. It's not the trade Pays wanted necessarily here at level 1. Lens didn't use his stun yet.
Yeah. See there as well, bone plating ticket for plays. They're just really looking to take control of this lane early. Zeri is so reliant on kind of having that early presence to carry you through to level 6, where you do actually get some all-in for it. If you don't get the first wave crash, playing into Lucian Nami becomes a whole lot harder. We are seeing that so far it's not looking too bad. Summoners as well, want to highlight, Guma actually ended up going for the cleanse, which I don't think feels that amazing. Obviously it's a lot of value into Lahens. We don't see something like an Ignite or an Exhaust on the other end, which often gives it additional value, at least in the 2v2, as level 2 is hit.
Yep. Level 2, a nice little move forward here from Pays. That is a dash forward on the Zeri you will enjoy. Keria and Guma still on level 1, and so they will take the butt end of that trade. Take a look at Keen's win rate on the Cassante. Yes, they have won quite a lot, but he's played a lot of games of that. Just like Zeus played a bunch of Aatrox in the regular season, Cassante has been the go-to for Keen.
And what do we say? Early bot lane dives. Right now, Canyon, I thought he was actually going to commit, but I do agree, it doesn't look like they're actually going to be able to get the crash show. Did peel off his blue buff, ends up going back. Not going to go for this right now. Guma and Keria doing a good job here in the early 2v2.
Faker, Orianna win rate quite high, and quite a few games played, 52 in total here. He's only been allowed to play it once so far in playoffs. He did win that game. This will be his second time. He's going forward.
That is not the dash you want to see. Here's Oner, and he's going to force that flash out. The dodge on that one is going to keep Pays alive. And now Canyon here in the mid lane looking to trade onto Faker potentially, but no red buff. Simply going to take some power away from the level 3 Poppy.
Oh, Faker. Nerves of Steel there in Pace. If he doesn't sidestep that, ends up dying there. That could have been the turning point in the lane. Instead, he's okay. He's able to pick up a Cole, make his way back. And we are seeing that because of the early gank from Oner and him investing his flash, Canyon is able to again go for an invade, this time on the Poppy.
It's crazy how on a knife's edge these matchups with the Zeri Lucian end up going, even without the Lulu here in this lane. And it's just one overstep, one mobility used. You can get pounced on. Pays gonna have to be careful. You don't get a second try. If you end up messing this up again, you play too aggressively trying to push that through. So we'll see Lahens a little bit late on the back to Cull. Will be a nice surge of income here for the Zeri. And a lot of the times with these drafts with Zeri, especially with paired to the strong scaling mid laner like the Corki, games can be decided based on an early game skirmish that goes wrong for the non-Zeri team. The Zeri gets accelerated, but with this Corki here into Faker's Orianna, into the Zac, hard to imagine that Pays, especially now down that flash, is going to get such a fight. Oner?
Lens is here. He's going to have the stun as well. The flash comes in, and Oner in a bit of a wonky spot here. He is going to charge in and has a speed up from Faker, but the flash on in. No, not the cone, and it is denied by the W of the Poppy, and that is first blood given over to Chovy.
Absolutely pivotal roam there from Lens. He's been struggling so much this series, but his presence ends up making the difference. Yes, they invest a lot, but it's Chovy getting accelerated in the Game 5 and an early gold lead for Gen.G.
This is massive for Chovy, and Faker can really do nothing. All he can do is sit back and watch, put that slow slash speed up there with the W onto Oner, but the blast cone is denied. Pays, meanwhile, has Lehens coming back down with a stun. Should be totally fine here, is fully charged up, and Guma and Keria, outside of a bubble landing, don't have any agency here. Canyon will also be able to take these two grubs away from Oner, so nice pickups here. Not going to be too impactful on either side with the compositions that we do have. Not really any strong split push champions here. Will be significant though for the gold he picks up and that experience. This game is so tense already. And that lead alone for Chovy isn't necessarily going to be backbreaking for T1 by any means, but it's not how you want your early game to go.
Gives Chovy a little bit of extra room against the Orianna. You know, this Orianna has been dominating the lane, as you mentioned before, Wolf, and in many games past. But now you give a red buff over to Chovy, and this Corki early on that might have suffered is kind of just chilling. I mean, he's very even as we're going to listen in to this play.
Yeah, it's just Lehens calling out he's got no flash here on the play.
I think you got it. Got him. Give it to Corki, he says. Doesn't even say Chovy, just calls him Corki. As little knockback here, Zeus, he already ulted in a little bit of trouble, even on the Zac, and down he goes to the passive. Keen looking for a solo. Can he get the kill is the question. One last hit and he will get it, and now Faker has to flash in the mid lane.
Chovy almost gets a solo kill with the last of his mana in mid, and Zeus is taken out top side here. Ends up picking up an early Negatron cloak, and that's so much MR on this Cassante, and he ends up winning out the longer trade there with his ultimate. And things are falling apart here for T1.
Keen Sanse gets it done. We haven't seen this man solo kill after the nerf after nerf after nerf, but right now, able to make it happen. And in particular, again, you're up match point. Everything looks to be going fine. Even game 1, I think, from T1, it's going to feel great, right? You're able to stall it out to such an extent. Zeus gets the counter pick again, but this time around Keen. In these extended trades, just gets so much value, and this early on, the Zac, yeah, sustain is good, but just isn't enough, and Keen doesn't miss those cues.
Doesn't miss those. Movement good there on the Zac ultimate as well. And it's very easy cleanup here on the blobs with the passive. Such a huge lead for this Cassante early.
It's really not easy to do that. Like, Keen made it look easy. That was difficult. To hit that Q3 and to go into that one. I do have to say, Zeus, it looked like he was trying to get the crash, and it's not easy for anyone to survive against a full all-out from the side of Cassante, so Zeus also taking a risk, but Keen is the one who's able to capitalize on it.
Canyon's here. Hex Flash at the ready.
Yeah, he's going to look for it here, and a Faker who does not have the flash, you remember, from the mid lane play in the 1v1 Faker is going to get the shockwave, though they don't quite have the damage, although Chovy is looking for it. The big one is going to miss, and now Oner going back in the bubble as well as Keria is here, and the missile will not land. Oner picks up the kill in mid.
Chovy has a choice to make with that last rocket. Do I go for the big one hit and try to look for the kill, or do I just say, all right, we ended up getting, we're not going to give this, we're not going to get this one, we're just going to let him get out. With the roam coming over there from Keria, he is punished. The big one doesn't hit, goes for the call there, and is punished swiftly by Oner, and T1 back in the game.
Really big one there for the momentum as well, being able to get a win in the books. Kill for Oner, gonna feel great. Able to finish an invade here, pick up a blue buff for himself. This time it's Keria on the roam. Ends up assisting, but it's Oner that really makes the push. And there, Canyon doesn't get the wall stun. Faker just keeps denying the ability to actually lock him into the wall, so you do lose a lot of the power of that Poppy, even without the flash. And gold lead, it's there for Gen.G, but it's not, as you pointed out, Wolf, game breaking by any means.
Keen really having his way with Zeus now here on the top side. Doesn't pick up too much, but the extra sustain from the refillables, the rejuve, some additional health here, knowing that Zeus' passive is down. Allows him to play more aggressively here on the top side. So we'll look at this play once again. Started off, of course, by Canyon. This is Faker's vision. And his ultimate is fantastic here as he drops down. The speed boost, ults himself.
He's saying that he lives. You know? Faker is like, no, I live, I'm fine.
And Toby goes for the rocket. It doesn't hit. He's dead. You can see, even though they say nice, the comm's a little rocky there for T1. Not the most optimistic sounding voices you've ever seen in the game.
It's a tense moment, you know. It's they almost lost that trade, you know, but they're able to just barely get it done. And again, the power of the Orianna as well, the shields, the CC coming in from the Shockwave, keeping himself alive. Oner and Keria making their way up as well to help, as here is a dive. He's gonna miss! And that's not going to be it, but he's going to knock him into the turret, and that will definitely be enough, as now Canyon just going to tank this one up and run away. Lahen's not able to tank it, and so they do get the dive going, only picking up Keria, though, as Gen Z will be happy with the one kill.
Well, I was kind of wondering whether they wanted to go for the redive there, but Guma, great job immediately clearing the wave. Still going to be a huge win, though. Kill doesn't go to Pace, but it's still more gold into the pockets of Gen G, and Lahen's, if he ends up going for the redemption rush very early on again, that can be the big decider in an early fight. That's why we saw, I think it was Tarzan who originally rushed it on Olaf, just because of the value. Canyon doesn't find the ultimate, but it doesn't matter if you hit the stun.
Yeah, and obviously here the follow-up with the Annie and the Tibbers coming through is just so much additional damage. Guma, without Shiv, might actually be in trouble there of the redive, but the static Shiv will help him clear the wave, as mentioned. And that's the end of that, as Chovy, he is just turning the narrative of the Orianna into his playground here in this mid lane. Does pick up the Hex Drinker, doesn't skip on that one, but is constantly putting the pressure on.
Uh-oh, that's a wall, that's a Cassante. Doesn't bring him all the way, though. Still gonna get the flash out of Zeus, who will be just fine. The Zac originally brought out to deal with the Cassante. Not having a great time in this game, though.
The Cassante or the Rek'Sai. Look at the Rooker and timing here for Keen. He's gotten it online so quickly. And he could just walk at the Zac, and it's difficult for Oner to make an impact on that lane into this Cassante. He could just ghost away. He does get ganked. He was topside when that bottom dive happened. Gen G, a lot of control over this map. It's only 1,000 gold, their lead, but they're scaling with this Harry, with the Corki. Is to be feared when this Cassante is such a strong front line.
For T1, it's going to come down to, can they actually get on top of these big carries for Gen G? Because outside of Lahen's, both Paze and Chovy are so much more slippery than the target you'd ideally want to play something like a Zac into, right? Like an Aphelios. It makes a lot of sense. A lot harder into a Corki as the second dragon here for Gen G. Early game looking to go their way, but I think T1 not going to contest unless Zeus also TP's in, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
So late if he does decide to go for it. Faker just TPing to catch mid. And this package isn't going to do much unless Faker overextends, but it doesn't matter. Let's see what that soul's going to be, because that's a big question on every T1 fan's mind. 2 dragons down.
Oh boy.
Infernal!
I think the only one that would have been better would have been Hextech, but Infernal is also insane. I mean, you just have pretty much every champ is going to use it on the side of Gen G to a big deal, to a big factor, and they already have 2 Drakes here, stacking those up. And it's going to get interesting as well. Canyon is on vision, but still, nope. Just going to back away from this one. Knows he's on vision, of course.
Gonna leave it at that. Zeus still has teleport available, so if you do go for the dive, you do run some risk. Keen gonna be okay in terms of pushing, but isn't really that big of a threat outside of the Demolish proc. Level 11.
He's gonna get this knock-up in, but Keen is gonna respect it for now. It's gonna take quite a while to chew through the Zac at this point, but bit of a lane swap coming in.
Yeah, there's a lane swap coming, and some control vision on top side.
And now he's gonna go for it, as Zeus still does have his jump, so he's just gonna get out of there.
Just really wanted to make this happen so they can effectively get that lane swap through. And this is unseen. There's control vision in the river.
Look at that. I think they actually used the Scryer there to sneak out the lane swap. We also saw the mid lane of T1 already rotating towards mid, so I think they had an inkling that this was happening. Ends up being, I think, responded to pretty quickly here by T1, meaning that Gen G don't get the big benefit that they got in game number 1.
And we do have a pretty big objective here. The Rift Herald's available. And it did look like Gen G were setting up for that one, but no package. Of course, Chovy did bring it on the Dragon. That they did get the Mountain Drake. And Oner's just going to start this one up. Gen.G do know this is here and being taken. Will they challenge?
He has to walk back. Gen.G not going to contest necessarily. Looks like Land's just going to complete the back. He's going to give this one up.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Rift Herald is going to be nice. Bit of damage there in a canyon, but definitely have some pretty good champs at dealing with the Rift Herald.
Yeah, you're also looking at Chovy already sitting on a bunch of components, but not really the item completions that I think you ideally want. As this is, I know Zeus got killed in the 1v1. I still would advise some caution when it comes to playing into the Zac. As, oh, I don't know if... And they definitely know.
Yeah, and he is going to stay, picks up the buff. And he is quite fast, but he is going to also flash away. Respects T1 coming on down.
He's got steadfast presence, he's got flash.
And now he has Hex Flash enabled, so...
Yeah.
Hex Flash,
thumbs up.
Hex Flash for red. I'll call that work.
You know that's what Atlas is saying back in the green room. Oh, waiting for the final
double
ending of this series, and yeah, double. And I mean, FaZe was able to push top side while it was happening. We did see Keen push bottom, and Faker's chunked out to half. Gen.G just have so much control, even in these, you know, moments between objectives. Gen.G are getting so much gold on the map and constantly applying pressure. And Guma has kind of been bouncing between lanes, seeing if maybe they could force a fight with this mid-game Lucian. But he's just not finding the Zeri. As FaZe now in mid here, pushing with an Annie rotating up. So much vision for Gen.G.
Yeah, we do see Keria trying to help out with that, trying to clear out as much as he can. We do have an... Oh, he gets all down out of the jump, and now Zeus in a lot of trouble once again. Goes into the passive. And Keen just got to time it right with the Q, and that is going to do it. Eats a bunch of turret shots, but he doesn't care. It's 2 solo kills for Keen.
Keen has been part of some of the most painful memories of the LCK. His own finals, never able to actually get a win. KT last year, pure heartbreak. And in Game 5, 2 solo kills in a tank v tank matchup.
He won't choke. Not in this one. Not in this one. His second finals. And he wants to cross the finish line. As this is Zeus interrupted in jump. As you'll see, he attempts it. Keen positions well here, grabs him out of it with the all-out. And then in this moment, when he is passive his procs, which he also loses in this exchange, he's begging that left blob to stay near the turret. Don't go back. Keen identifies, all right, let me take that one out first, and I'll finish the rest as they move towards the center. Calculated has just enough health left to get the kill.
It was also like, I think 10 seconds left on Faker CP. If you can teleport to the blobs, you can turn the play around, but there's no time.
Definitely could have been an angle. They do not get the opportunity though. And now we get some trading here in mid as the Infernal Drake, the first one of the game, is about to spawn. 10 seconds as Guma trying to do his best to just create as much space in mid as possible. We do have a Hex Flash coming in from Canyon. Always got to be careful about that. Keen also here in mid as Oner is top.
Who's going to kill Chovy, or who's going to kill Keen though? Although Chovy might have been in trouble here.
Now they're trying to take down Chovy. He's just going to go in on a Faker, and Faker nearly dies as well. Even a redemption just in case. As Gen.G are really on the ball in this game.
I mean, that's... Okay, wait, hold up.
He's going to hit a minion, tries to get in onto Guma, but is not going to commit to it just yet.
And, I mean, the plays here, the attempts from T1 shut down again.
Uh-oh. And he faced checkers. He is going to get a nice calling down. Lorenzo, he's so low. He's going to flash away. And now, you've got an Annie who is summonerless. And now, T1 are able to rotate down with the Rift Herald as well and push it into mid, trying to get some plays here as the knockup comes in. That is Faker, who is in the Rift Herald. Why is he in the Rift Herald?
Against the Poppy to deny the eject.
Oh, that is huge.
What a huge error here
That
from
should be
T1.
the drink.
Everything before that looked so good. They had so much control. They had the prio. Perhaps a misclick, I don't know, but that's not what you want. And Canyon says no. Goodbye, Orianna. Who cares if Lehens isn't here? That's Soul Point for Infernal Soul here for Gen.G.
I'm like wondering, is it out of vision? Did they think Canyon was on the Drake or something? I don't know what happened there. But as you say, Wolf, Colossal was like, because Lehens had basically no health and Chovy took his package. So that would have been.
No, he just, Oner's not there. And he says, no, I'm just going to take it. I mean, Keria taking it is just, you know, maybe even a little bit less bad because You lose your support, it's not a big deal, but
use to gain access to river.
Just don't take it. Yeah.
No one should board the Herald there, and perhaps they thought the Herald knockup itself would allow them to make a tidal wave bubble play onto Kinsante? I don't think so.
Second Canyon shows up, it's just...
That's a big
That
whip.
play is over.
That's a big miss because T1 had the opportunity of a lifetime set up by Guma there with Lehen's getting chunked out. They get that dragon, they buy some time. Feeling doomed at the moment.
Okay, well...
Tensions are high, it's game 5. It's been 6
The nerves are very visible in this one, let's say.
Oh, yeah.
Game number 5 is getting everyone as we are heating up.
I think in game number 1, everyone was so crisp. It was back and forth. And here people are taking heralds. They're pressing R buttons for, I guess, stress, understandably, as Lucian dashes in on you.
It is the hottest day of the year as well today here in Korea. We have a packed arena. It is so hot in here. All three of us are sweating. The players are as well. Look at Chobi's hair compared to what it looked like in game 1. The fans love to do that. I mean, it is a tense series. There's no doubt about it. And again, we've talked about the stakes so much here. Both of these teams are going to MSI. That's not what it's about. It's about pride. It's about lifting the trophy. For Gen.G, it's about setting records. And for T1, it's about denying them and getting revenge. But so far in this final game, Gen.G have so much control. The Corki now on 2 items.
Uh-oh, trying to take a trade here. Chobi thinking about getting in there, but this Lucian Guma is just so clean on it, and he's actually going to end up winning the trade with the help of his Nami.
And this is the big thing. We talked a lot about Gen.G, and I think particularly with that soul, if that mid play hadn't happened, I think this game is still very even. The teamfight threat of T1 is insane with the wombo combo, the amount of CC available, but specifically because of the Infernal Soul, you don't get to make a lot of mistakes, because one mistake, giving over an Infernal to Zeri, to Corki, and to Keen. Honestly, I don't think he needs more threat and more damage.
For sure. Now it is going to be T1 grouping up in mid. Gen.G not really in position to stop this one, as down will go the mid tier 1 over to the side of T1. So at least they pick up that objective. Nice little group up here.
What about Baron? Guys?
Well, you know it's on their minds.
Oh, you know it's on their minds. The Corki poke is landing though. Chobi out of rockets here, but it's enough to push them away. Ward fight here, but T1 will have to be pushed away. We're going back to shift clear in mid. Gen.G is biding their time until this next objective. 2 minutes until the Infernal Soul. They've got a decent amount of damage themselves, but I don't think they want to be starting Baron, but denying it from T1, pushing them away, being able to set the pace of the game and fight on their terms with this insane front line. The poke they have is exactly what Gen.G are looking for. They'll even pick up a bonus turret here for their troubles. T1 try to group and get denied.
The stakes of the game, making our teams disregard side lanes for a little bit there, but quickly realizing, able to pick up a free turret there towards the top side. Want to highlight as well, Kane actually going for the... I'm not sure who he put it on. I imagine...
Probably Guma.
It will be Guma, because Guma, with his first strike in particular, and what is an IE soon on the way, is actually, I think, one of the few members that can burst through him. For Faker, it's going to take a lot more rotations. Not really worth his time. Chovy, thanks to that early kill as well, by the way, and the turret gold, is about to finish his Malignance. And from that point on, the Corki poke is going to be even more of a nuisance in 1 minute. Look at the summoners, basically up across the board. Is T1 maybe going to go for a Baron trade for a soul? Gotta basically win the game inside that Rebel Baron power play if that's what you end up doing.
And they don't have a team composition that just says, well, you got the Infernal Soul, but we can deny you back some push and inhibitor. I mean, the top outer is still up, as Faker very low on mana.
Smite's coming down, and now with Keen coming in, Zeus isolated on the top side. He tries to flash an ult just to try to survive, and he will dodge the Q3. But now turning their sights here on the Baron. Gen.G, they have choked out all the vision around this objective, and
King's on mid, and it looks like they're not going to try to
for it.
Yeah, not going to try to force this one. The Infernal Shard's really coming up big there for Gen.G.
Maybe T1, TP coming in. This is Zeus trying to make a play for the streak.
I mean, this is probably going to be the deciding fight of this game, of this series. If Gen.G pick up this dragon, there's almost no coming back from this. Package at the red.
Uh-oh, here we go again as Keen running on in. He wants the finals, but no stun is going to land here as the cleanse comes through, and now Keen has to back away. Gen.G, they get some space here on the map looking at that Infernal Soul. And there's just no vision in here. I mean, this is being burst down right now. Keen is just playing bouncer on the outside of this. T1, you gotta do something as the ult is going to miss here from the side of Canyon. And here is a massive package. Chovy trying to get away. Zeus going super deep for that one. And now Keen and then Oner gets in and he takes down the dragon. Will deny the soul, but the fight is coming in. Pays trying to go 1v3 isn't going to take out anybody. And yes, Oner will go down, but he keeps the game alive.
But T1, they got a Drake, but Gen.G, they can push mid, they can even look towards the Baron. They didn't need to get that dragon. They opted for the team fight. Instead, Canyon was like, see, I'm hightailing out of here. We're killing the front line.
And then Keen just walks at Faker. Look at his MR. He's got a cowl. He's had that Rooker for so long. Double TP means they reset, grab all that mana back, and then just going for it. Keen.
Absolutely, he can do that.
No,
He's looking for more. He wants more.
He wants to get in their heads. As Keen just stands in front, and yes, the ultimate does whiff really from Canyon. The package damage is unreal, and Zeus is focused down.
Baron is down in live. Gen.G just pick up a huge objective.
And Oner getting this, you know, it feels like it's a consolation prize, but it's not going to make you feel like it's anywhere near enough to bring this game back for T1. If they lose the dragon and lose the fight, of course, obviously it would be worse. But, I mean, how much worse can it be? 5,000 gold for Gen.G, the lead now. Before this Baron really starts to kick in, they've already bought items that are now going to go for that push. There's standing gold here in this mid-turret first they're looking for.
Canyon looking for more as well. Both Canyon and Keen are just sprinting at the enemies, just knowing they're so tanky and nobody can touch them, especially Canyon with the Anathemas and Guma.
It feels like Canyon, like he played one game of a carry and it's like, okay guys, I'm fresh, my hands are back, I'm good to go. But Keen, in this individual game, as we pointed out countless times, truly the standout on this Cassante. The amount of damage that he has done.
Faker thinks he's safe, and now we got to play here in mid. This is a 1v1 on the top side that Faker, he cannot take this. Keen is just way too strong at this point in time with so much MR. And now we got to fight mid. Canyon a bit caught out here. He is going to have to flash away, but now the engage and a massive disengage follow-up from the side of Canyon. Faker did have to flash over the wall just to survive.
Close call there. Oner denied by Canyon. If that Crescent Guard is a little bit crisper, hits a little bit harder there, that could have been a disaster for Gen.G.
But T1 actually is doing a good job here because they're dragging Gen.G into this fighting, this skirmishing. They haven't even taken mid-outer yet.
Yeah, the defense
haven't taken a single turret.
The defense has been great. It's only 400. The power play here. A lot of the clock of this Baron also now gone here. They still won't get this turret. Now Tibbers down here for Lehens as well. Still Gen.G in full control, but T1 hanging on by a thread. And as we've seen already so much in this playoffs with T1, sometimes a thread is all you need. Not going to give him the edge yet, but they hold on.
He's looking for it.
Faker has ult.
Not gonna go for it. Just barreling down mid with Baron, and there's a Poppy, there's a Cassante. There's just so many ways to deny him access into this fight, as now he's gonna just pop over for fun. Down 2 levels here on Keen, who has gotten the better of him in Game 5.
And the only way I think T1 wins this is one of those moments of Faker Shockwave finds them all, a 5-man,
yeah,
a huge,
I'm ready.
Gen.G mistake, right? A massive flub from Lehens, right? Or Canyon tries to go in for an ultimate and gets focused down first by this Lucian. I mean, there's just so little agency here for T1. The map completely belongs to Gen.G. Sure, they burned a lot of that Baron power play. It's only 800 gold, really. End up grabbing here. The turret going down, it goes up to 1,500, but that's not a massive gold advantage from the Baron itself. They still got the map control, though. Yes, it was delayed, and they still maintain a 5,000 gold lead here. But it's going to have to be a clutch play from T1. Making the game scrappy as they did in those moments just to go, as you said, Kogler, I think is how they have to play. They need to drag Gen.G down to their level, force them to fight skirmishes and sides. That's what T1 has been so good at in the last few years. And I think it's what they need if they want a miracle comeback here.
It's got to be hit and run, because if you actually front to back into Poppy Cassante with a fed Zeri, even though Pace hasn't been really that relevant in this game, he still has free items. He's still going to take over fights if you give him the space. And if that Chovy sitting on free items, you 100% need to somehow drag Gen.G in, try and find a way, find someone isolated. Because if you don't, like, it's going to have to be Oner or Zeus who actually enables Faker, the way that Wolf did way back, right? You have to actually set up if you are going to be able to take the fight, find the comeback, because the wombo combo, we can keep talking about it, but I think the tools for Gen G this time are so much better than they were. And I think, I don't even, was it game number 3? The one with Pace and Felios? I'm sure it was. Yeah. My memory's a little hazy after this series.
We've all melted. We've all melted. All right, package ready. Genji looking for a second try on Infernal Soul here.
He got TA.
TA also finished as mentioned.
And Faker didn't get death cap. He went back, spent all his money on a second rod. He doesn't have death cap for this fight. Genji,
one more chance. One more chance.
A massive chance as the ult is gonna get Oner away. There's no chance at a steal. Genji will pick up Infernal Soul. And they're looking for more. I mean, they have the package as well. Oner going to be slowed on up, and Keen is just sprinting at 5 people. Does not care at all about any threat from the side of T1.
And there's just no contest. This time the Poppy ult lands. Keen just walks in them, he doesn't care. Infernal Soul!
That's not okay! That's old Corki! That's brain nerf Corki right there!
Oh,
Look at that!
Half his health bar is gone!
They do not get to play the game. Nice little dodge here on the Q3, that's all they've got. They have to dodge, they have to play dodgeball at this point because they don't have any other hope. As now, Zeus gonna go in and immediately is just gonna get burned to shreds, but a lot of damage here on Akeen. Maybe a chance for the blobs are being taken out as he is going to be blocked. Oner getting in front of that last missile to keep Zeus alive.
That's worth though, that's a heal, barrier, and flash gone on the side of Gen G.
Yeah, that was a really nice re-engage there from T1. The shockwave comes out. Deathcap should be ready here pretty soon for Faker. And maybe they can contest the Baron here in 30. The poke is unreal. The damage that comes out of this Corki is actually just so oppressive, so difficult to deal with. 24,000 damage here for Corki here in 31 minutes. He's done so much in this game, but T1 again to hang by that single thread. No death cap for Faker, doesn't quite have enough just yet. He really wants that item here, but Baron completely controlled now by Gen G. Pays no flash, maybe this time Zeus, the follow-up engage, if he makes a mistake, could force us, but look at the vision clear now for Gen G. They're not just going to start this up on spawn, they're going to guarantee they have full prio in control.
They're doing exactly that, just putting up a wall and saying, you've got to face check into us. One ward there in mid is going to help them if they can spot them going into the bush, but that's about all that T1 have. Canyon looking for it, looking for an engage alongside Akeen. Those two guys providing just one of the best front lines we have seen.
Oh, that's Deathcap almost done.
Yeah, 50 gold.
He's so close, but he doesn't have enough.
He needs just like a wolf cap or something, but
no time.
Gen G are not going to give him the time. Not going to give them the time of day either, as Faker has to join on in here. Now, an engage, a chance. Keen looking for it. And Guma has to be the one that puts in the damage because you know for sure that Chovy will be doing it on the opposite side.
Faker's got to find Paze and Chovy here with the shockwave.
Oh, there's another big pull on in as Keen is getting low. He's getting low. He's taken out and now Zeus going on in. Paze though is going to ult and is going to pull them away from this one. The knock away from the Lucian. As Guma will no longer be in the fight, but that is still a huge pick for T1 to keep their hopes alive.
Chovy's out of rockets here. Is going to need a little bit of time here before he can put that poke back on. Faker's cooldown used though. The ultimate is down. Hard to chase and get anything more, but they will get the prio on the Baron here. Deathcap is done for the Orianna now as Faker teleports back in. One more T1 Baron, one more Hail Mary.
No ult for Canyon.
No ult for Canyon. They do have to deal with the Corki, but I mean, they're dodging everything. Chovy not quite able to land the rockets here, not going to hit the big one, hits a small one, but that is Baron for the side of T1.
Hanging by that one single thread, and one fight here is the Baron to go over to T1. Deathcap is ready, no flash for Paze, and Keen focused down, he takes all the resources, but there is just nothing left.
Bounties were up!
Yeah.
This is so much gold going into the pockets of T1 as Keen. Even he is going to get shooten with enough time. It's the CC that ends up doing it. Everyone throwing their ultimates into him. Guma, he's sitting on Lord Doms, he's sitting on IE. And it's enough, and I think Gen G gets caught off guard.
And not enough confidence to follow up on that play without Paze's flash to chase there in Zeri ultimate. They're trying to come down and win that one because a lot of other situations for Zeri in a comp like this, if your front line is still alive, it's a pick on someone else, Zeri can still carry, but with Keen down and no flash, he can't do it. GA ready for Oner now. Elder is in 90 seconds. T1 may have actually just turned this game around.
I've seen a fair share of Elder flips. This one is a little different, guys.
This is going to be insane. I mean,
they still have Nash.
Yeah, they still do have Nash, and they're going to be able to utilize that to put on the pressure and just to keep Gen G in the base. And the damage out of an Orianna and Lucian, there is a chance that T1 just pick up the Elder here.
Toby has to be so careful trying to look for this poke, but he's going to land some. Needs to land more than that, and the minions make it so tough, and if he tries to go a little bit deeper and gets engaged on, even the GA won't be enough to save him. As yes, you defend your inhibitor, but there's still prio top. Zeus has teleport, and this Elder is coming up in 45 seconds.
This is going to decide the game. Pace has GA, level 16. Chovy has the package waiting in base. Faker, death kept on. Gumayusi, full build outside the brown bags, and we know he doesn't need boots. He has a Nami. Look at that gold.
Ultimately, I think the strongest ultimates in this fight are going to be the Shockwave and the Keeper's Verdict. If the Keeper's Verdict hits multiple T1 members, that might just be all Gen G need to win a 5v3, for example, a 5v4, or to push Oner away from smite range. But to get to the Elder is the first task. Package ready here for Chovy.
It all comes down to this.
It all comes down to this. Everyone on a knife's edge right now.
One Elder flip could get it done. The flash on in with the package, trying to make a play, but Chovy is in the front line, and he might just go down here. Just a bit of damage could get it done, but they don't quite take him out. Keen tanking on the left side. Oner goes down, and Keen is still alive. He is still alive in the back line, and Gen G, they take the fight.
Get your coffee pastas out as like Kasante. Keen Sante walks towards T1 and says no. The engage from Chovy, not enough to get an initial pick, but it's enough to win the fight.
He's trying to grab the wave. TP is coming in. Faker not going to let this game end just yet, but he might have to pay with it.
They're going to try.
With his life, but the wave is going to come in, and they're just going to ignore the Elder. They're going to try to end the game.
Oh, the Getzo! Gonna get it!
Yes, he knows. And there it is! 1W! And maybe that just ends this game. No, they're backing. They're not gonna end. They say, okay, timers aren't good enough. We take the turret. We're going to Elder.
Oner's up in 5, but to get here to challenge the Elder, it just feels like a dream. It's not even feasible. Rushing over now. Our Gen G is. We can talk about this replay 10 times, and a lot of people will. Felt like a really risky engage here for Gen G, but they trusted Keen's tankiness here. They're gonna push Faker back. The Elder is going over.
It's gone.
It's gone. And
Gen G is gonna get it.
The big thing there, Chovy forces immediate flashes with his ultimate, and he splits the fight in two. The package, it ends up being like the tanky members of T1 trying to just kill this Fed Zerian at this point. You just can't.
Can't. Too mobile. Tank. Kasante. Full build level 18. You can't kill the Kasante. The flashes are burned. I just don't think T1 saw it coming. The package straight into the middle of the map.
To the 5 people, man!
you package to defend, you package to control objectives.
Oh boy, 40k damage as well. Just to top it all off, I mean, the Corki's full build at this point, right? He picks up the Void Staff, win for GA for a bit more extra survivability, and
are they gonna
alive.
wait? Are they just gonna keep chaining? I don't think they are.
I mean, without Baron, though, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get into this base. So, yes, they have the Elder for a minute and a half, and they can certainly threaten T1, and they have forced a lot of fights as we have seen in this game, but without the Baron, enough wave clear here from the Orianna and the Lucian might just extend this game.
This is about as intense as it gets. I'm on the edge of my seat, literally, and Gen G just going to try to siege up this turret here, but breaking open the base of those inhibitors just seems out of the question right now. If T1 try to go for a defense here where they flank, they will get shut down. There's no flanking wards here. And the Corki poke is still real. They still have Infernal Soul.
You have to clear the wave. That's the only way. Shockwave gonna come through. The cannon minion does go down. Culling as well, but there's another wave coming in, and now Keen gets the knockback here on Oner. He is running into 5 members with the Elder. They get 4-man knockback just to give them an and they will take down the top inhibitor as well as the middle one with those ranged minions, and Gen.G will stop at that.
Health bars are low, and Gen.G have learned in this best of 5. We can't underestimate T1. We're not going to give them a way in. We're going to use the last 25 seconds of this buff to get ourselves a Baron.
Even with Shockwave down, even with Crescent Guard down, they do not want to hard force this. The Super Minion's a long way away, but the Baron will be rushed down. T1 trying to get over here, but without those critical tools, they can't contest. They can't do anything here. And now Gen.G can reset, and with Baron-empowered Super Minions and Corki Poke, if T1 defend this, it might just lift the trophy, but I feel like these cards are now stacked so ultimately against him as T1 handled this pressure as well so extremely well. Zeus here, backing off the Crescent Guard, pushes Keen away. Hayes tries his best to execute them there with the last bits of the Elder, but isn't quite able to do it. T1 playing so back, so safe, still clear the cannon. Faker's Shockwave clears the minion wave. Otherwise, Gen.G might be able to just get the better of them there, push to end. Crisis management, so good here for T1, but it doesn't change the overall game state, doesn't change the fact that this Infernal buff is still here. These Super Minions are barreling down towards the Nexus.
They gotta find a pick. That's the only way that you get back into this game, because now you have two supers pushing, and they're gonna run down that bot lane with Baron buff up insanely hard. And again, what this also does is it forces a front to back. You're gonna be forced to try and engage into this Cassante, into this Poppy, which just seems like an impossible task. There is a ward there, and you see Gen.G, they're trying to sweep out. They don't want to get surprised, as our observers are doing a great job.
They just need to make it even more intense, don't they?
Oh, that's enough.
Just deny us some extra vision, why don't you?
Yeah, he's going to be able to be behind them.
Yeah.
3 inhibs down if this fight goes well, if the siege goes well. Don't even necessarily need to kill the members of T1, just use the threat of this package to siege, but only one cannon mini left. Here comes Keen on the flank through mid as well.
Yep. Gonna taxi that wave on in through mid, put on the pressure, and he's nearly got his ghost too, which is gonna make him able to close this distance so fast. But the Baron push is on. Gen.G, they can taste it. They're gonna take down that third inhibitor, and they still have the Baron buff for a full minute.
Super Minions crashing through here. One last attempt.
One last package. He's gonna try to send it. Oner with the Crescent Guard keeps it alive. Zeus desperately trying to stop this one from ending as the GA is going to be utilized. He goes in and annihilates